Hey, Zero to Pass, Nubatama Third Eye Facebook page. Tom coming at you with a deck profile and locals report. So we had a small shop tourney today, had 7 players. Let's see, what do we have that I know of? We had Golds, Agravain. We had Claret Sword. We had Riviere. We had Angels. Pretty good build. We had, Mordred, Claret Sword, Riviere, Angels, and I'm forgetting some of the other decks because sorry I didn't play against you, but it was pretty good. My first round was against the Angel Feather player. Some pretty good games there. Went 2-0. Next round was against Claret Sword. Went 2-1. It was pretty tight, pretty close. And then my last round was against Riviere, and I went 1-2. Almost got him. And in fact, I'm convinced after playing that matchup that this deck actually can hang with the likes of Riviere, which is something to be said. Because, when people think of tier decks, they don't think of this deck. Perhaps this is more of a meta deck, but they definitely think of Riviere. The fact that Riviere got hit only once per turn definitely allows this deck to keep up with it. So the whole premise is you got a grade 2 rush here with Zangetsu and Gale. You just build a board early, put some tokens in the back so that you'll eventually use them unless they get retired or what have you, or you got a guard with them. But definitely generate them, put pressure on, and get your opponent to as high damage as you possibly can. If you see over here, first off, let me back up. This is essentially like my deck build back in October. The difference here is I've gone up to 4 Jammu Congo instead of 2, and KFC I've gone down to 3, which I wish I still had 4 in the deck, but don't really need that. 3's good enough. You got a big filter here. This is essentially the deck that I posted back in October when I just had the Japanese cards and was theory crafting. So the other big change here is I've gone down to 5 draw instead of 7. And I find that it's important for us to have more push early. And so having a few more crit allows for that. And I found it to actually be beneficial. So early rush with these guys, definitely filtering to get into your pieces. And chances are you're actually going to ride on Jammu Congo first. I've said in the past that, I would think Hanzo. But if you went first, Hanzo as a first ride grade 3, your opponent's on grade 2. It's not really effective as a field wipe, but Jammu Congo definitely helps reset their hand back to 6. I find that my opponent drops at least 1, if not 2 cards, unless they've counter rushed and they figure that out. And then you go into Hanzo, you set up with KFC, you use KFC after using Hanzo. So you use Hanzo, you'll spin everything off the side of your opponent's board except 1 card. And then you use KFC to pop that 1 back to their hand, and then they have to discard 1 plus the 4. So it's pretty devastating, and it works pretty well. And that's the combo of this deck. It is a combo deck, but that's really the centerpiece of the deck is this going off right here, using this to pressure. And if you have to rewrite and go longer game, using Jammu Congo, keeping your opponent at 4 is actually really, really good. There are ways in this deck, too, to actually use KFC twice. It can happen because you can use Tsunomasa with Hanzo, fill the soul, then pop this back to hand, fill more soul. That's a thing. These 2 cards, which I don't like running together, Kiriguri and KFC, based on principle, again, it works out pretty well. One of the things I've had to find myself doing is holding back when exactly I use KFC. I find if I use KFC early on and I'm only at like 2 damage, it's not terribly unsafe. But if I'm at 4 damage and I'm throwing all my PGs to the wind and my opponents say at like 3, it may not be the wisest choice unless it's absolutely what you have to do. There's just no way out of the corner. Definitely holding on to KFC to use it just at the brink of losing. it's kind of hard to explain, but people who play this deck, you know, I'm sure you felt this. There's this point where the tempo swings. It's not that it's going downhill for you, but you're taking more damage. You're just waiting. You've got enough guard, and then suddenly your opponent's in a corner now where they've got possibly a small hand with Jamia Congo, potentially a full field because they've been trying to counter rush you and pressure you later game, and then out of nowhere comes KFC and Hanzo together, combo to the rescue. So works pretty well, and that's effectively what this deck does. I've had games where I've literally filtered 7 cards and not hit this. That can happen, and that's basically the way the deck can brick, which is unfortunate. I mean, really, 7 cards. Think about the percentage of cards you're going through to try to dig for this. But I've had turns with Hanzo where I would proc, I'd have like maybe 2 of these. I'd proc each of them twice using this, and then I'd have 1 or 2 Dreadmasters as well, just cycling cards. And if you have to, you do it. You know, if you have to, you do it. I've lost some games because I didn't get into him. But when I do get into him, I typically win. One of my games against Riviere, actually, was it 1? I had to G assist, and I still almost won those games. Yeah, I forgot to say that. So my tournament report, there was some G assisting going on during my 3rd round with Riviere, and despite that, you know, the fact that Jamia Congo minuses your opponent, you know, it can make up for that. Gale's going to plus you. The fact that Zangetsu is basically your superior writing, or not writing, your superior calling the tokens, you're effectively getting free guard. You know, you counterblast 1 to get 5 shield that can intercept. So, yeah, you know, the assist is always going to feel bad, but because of these 2 cards and the fact that you've got this, makes it hurt not so bad. So yeah, this was also the first tournament that I played at where we had access to our quick shield. It's pretty good. It works as a card to toss to your perfect guard. Kind of just feels like another token, but it was literally there's no cost. Let's just put it that way. Just you go second, and you get this in your hand. It's pretty cool. Yeah, is that gonna balance things out? We'll see. We'll see in the end. But that was one of the other neat little tweaks today. We had that at our shop challenge. So I'm really happy with the way the deck performed. I'm happy with the rounds and the matchups I had. The new Angel stuff is really good. It is. The player was using the grade 3 to a T. You know, was removing this and these guys off the table. Was really taking away my advantage. The Riviere match, again, because it's once a turn. You know, if you hold back and you get your opponent again, use Jamia Congo and such, I mean, basically the last 1 to 2 turns back and forth, my opponent was at like 1 or 2 cards, and they were really top decking. They even admitted that. They got into their grade 3 that lets them go get Riviere. They had their grade 2 Riviere, so they would swing with grade 3 or grade 2, then they'd swing with grade 3, they'd re-ride, and then they would, you know, restand the grade 2, so they're getting 4 attacks off there, plus their other column had some little beater that was either taking out my rear guard. It was awesome. It was really good. Against Claret, my 1 loss against them, because we do a best of 3, because I went 2-1, but my 1 loss there is kind of funny. I had double 6 damage heal, but there was just too much coming at me. So that was the 1 loss I had there, which that was kind of a highlight in terms of just, you know, kind of plot armor, right? It's like heal, but yeah, still can't win. So that was pretty good too. Would I change anything of the deck? I'm happy with the changes. I'm happy that I listened to y'all and went up on Jamia Congo. The few that, you know, talked to me about it, PM'd me, or even just in the YouTube videos there, just said, hey, you know, maybe go up on awesome aces. This tweak here which is just something that I've played around with. I do also play a more, or I should say, I theory craft and I test a more kind of aggressive build that doesn't really run KFC, and so that kind of got me more into thinking about, wow, gee, I like really running, more criticals. And the one build I had has just 4 PG draw and 12 crits. And when I was goldfishing with it, I was like, well, wait a minute. Let's go back to the deck that I tend to play with my play group, that I tend to actually test for reals, and let's just up this and see what happens. And again, today I was really happy with the real results. So yeah, went against 2 force decks, went against 1 protect deck. Excel, how's Excel gonna do? Hanzo, Hanzo's gonna hurt Excel. KFC effectively is gonna hurt Excel as well. Excel's just got that plussing just really hurts. But now that we've had some of that Bushi love with the smashing Tachi, Pale Moon, and Murakumo, wow. Yeah, we'll see. I have a really good friend who plays Tachi. He's able to get his anger pretty much every game. How hard he searches for the card, and it's pretty scary. And he's a devout player of Tachi. It's just always going to be. And then Murakumo, there are options there. Shiryuki definitely going to miss running 3, which is what I was running. Although the deck tends to not like me anyways, I should probably just be playing this. But you still have Miyomaru, and you still have the ogre that at the end of the turn goes into soul, and you can draw a card. So that's effectively giving you more guard, whereas you had Shiryuki before, which was giving you all the guard basically. So yeah, those 3 decks. This would have struggled against them absolutely. Excel's just really, really good. I did play against Revon, and let me see. I believe when I played this against Revon, I'm trying to remember. I played this, and I played Shadow Paladins. This is just a couple days back. We played a number of games. We played a lot of games. I believe this actually was able to go head-to-head with it. And I'll be playing more. My friend and I, he plays Angels, he plays Bugs, he plays now Revon. I'm sure I'm gonna be able to test more with him, so can give you more feedback later on that. Other things in the meta, definitely need to just hand my Shadows deck to someone and say, hey, let's go, and see how that fares. Shadows is really impressive, swings really hard all the time. So there's that. And let's see, anything else that's really super threatening, like top tier? I'm sure there's something. So, and everybody likes their decks, everybody tweaks their decks, and again, I was watching some, I didn't mention this actually yet, but I was watching a tier list earlier today from not too long ago, like days ago, and I don't even think Nubatama was mentioned, and I'm not really sure why. I don't know if it's because they were sitting on something that they didn't want to talk about, or they just thought that Nubatama was just not good, which is not true. The deck definitely has its flaws, but it also has its strengths, and no other deck plays like this. So anyhow, I hope more people try out Nubatama. I like to see Nubatama in Springfest. I know that we've had cancellations. It's not mine personally, right? But the regional I was going to go to locally has been canceled. Of course, I get it. It makes sense. I hope everybody in the Vanguard community understands why those cancellations are happening. Is Bushigo going to reschedule them? I don't know, but we should hopefully have fall, competition. And that's where it really matters with regards to trying to, get in for Worlds. I will say I do enjoy teams. Teams is a lot of fun. It's basically best of 3 environment where you have a 3-deck format, 3 different minds, 3 different buddies, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that everything passes by and that some of y'all do get to play in your regionals. But, I guess we all just have to stay tuned, right? And just be sensible about it. So I hope you all stay safe out there. Hope you get a lot of Vanguard in, at least, at your locals and such. And continue to support the game we all love and enjoy. Take care.